Preschool and daycare, they don't mix. Don't do it. Just don't, okay? Don't. Deanna asked, should I put a part-time preschool into my daycare? Okay, guys, you guys know I have some rants, and this is one of them. Preschool and daycare, they don't mix. Don't do it. Just don't, okay? Like, just don't. Let me explain why. When I was trying to find a preschool for my daughter, she was my youngest daughter and she was 4 at the time, and I was trying to make sure that she was ready for kindergarten. I looked everywhere for a preschool that I could put her so that they would educate her and get her ready for kindergarten, because she's like my first child. I didn't know how to do it, right? I just wanted to make sure she got into kindergarten just fine. And I looked everywhere, guys. I was a stay-at-home mom, so I didn't need daycare, but there was no strictly a preschool program anywhere. It was literally just daycares. And as I was starting to look into the daycares, I'm like, well, maybe they do preschool. Yeah, actually they do preschool. There was a daycare that was like all day long, and they held a preschool inside of it for about 2 hours. And so preschool meant that you could bring your kiddo with all the daycare kids, and they'd all sit down at a table for a couple hours, and they'd do worksheets, and they would, do preschool, right? With all the daycare kids, and then the preschool kids would go home. Like, no, that's wrong on so many levels. So, number one, the preschool kids who attend don't feel like they're really part of the program, because wait a second, everybody was already here, and when I leave, everybody's still there. Why are my friends not there, right? Like, they're bummed out that they have to leave and their friends get to stay, yeah? Also, it's all the daycare kids. Like, they're best buddies with each other, and all of a sudden you got a couple random preschool people coming in? What's that all about, right? The other thing is that when moms, specifically stay-at-home moms, find out or hear that there's a preschool in a daycare program, it kind of just, it kind of rubs us the wrong way. Like, we don't need daycare. Does that make sense? Like, we stay home with our kids. We don't need daycare. We specifically stay home so we don't have to put them in daycare. So it's one of those things, like, we don't necessarily want to put our kids in daycare, even if it's a preschool for a couple hours. We kind of just want nothing to do with them. Does that make sense? We get that, yeah, if we got to go to work, our kids got to go to daycare. I get it. But stay-at-home moms, they got a different mentality, guys. And part-time working parents or working parents from home, they have a different mentality. Like, hey, I'm working from home so I can stay home with my kids, right? They don't want to put their kids in daycare. And I've seen so many times, like too many times to count, people who are daycare owners who find me and they're like, yo, like, yes, Joy, this is exactly perfect for me, because now I won't have to do my 12-hour-long days. I can just only do 2.5-hour preschool classes and only 3 to 5-year-olds and make more money and be able to have less work time. I love it. Like, I'm in, Joy, right? And what happens though is that because they've been in the daycare world so long, that's all they know. Okay, they feel super comfortable there. They know the clientele, they know how to serve them, they know how to enroll them. Like, they do a great job, okay? They're burnt out, but they do a great job. And so what happens is when they start going into this idea of like transitioning into just a preschool, they get a little bit scared and they do venture out. They're like, okay, well, cool. Well, let's do this class time and this tuition and let's try. But they're always holding back onto their daycare as like a little safety net, okay? And I want to give you a little analogy here. My good friend, Tony Robbins, he has said the statement, burn the boats. What does that mean? Well, if you were a conqueror and you wanted to take an island, let's say that you and your conquering buddies with all your swords and everything wanted that island, right? But there's people on the island. Well, you're gonna storm up with your boats and you're gonna put them on the island's coastline there. And then if you want that castle though, he says, burn the boats first. Why? Like, don't you want to have the chance to retreat if you need to? Like, you just want to die? Like, there's the rub, right? When you burn the boats, you have no other option than to take the castle, than to take the island. No other option. Either die or do it, okay? You literally put yourself in a do or die situation, okay? Now, what happens is that a lot of our daycare owners, they have that safety net behind them. They've got the daycare that kind of works works. They kind of hate it, you know, but it kind of works and it still provides income. And so when they kind of dabble in the preschool world and it doesn't really work out, and they're like, well, I can't get rid of my daycare kids though, because if that doesn't work out, then I don't want to like shoot myself in the foot and not have any daycare kids. So I'm just going to kind of like, well, I'll just do a 2.5-hour preschool class during my daycare time. So best of both worlds. And then when my preschool class grows so large, then I'll shut down my daycare. Do you see that rationale? Oh, the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I've seen way too many go through this path, way too many women, and it's not good in the end. They do not succeed, okay? So they got this daycare, they do like a 2.5-hour preschool class, they get maybe 1, maybe 2 students, period. I know that with strictly a preschool program, only 2.5 hours to 3-hour classes or something like that for 2 days a week, 3 days a week, or 5 days a week, you can be incredibly successful. So successful, in fact, that when I was just a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids, I was able to have a full-time income. I provided for my family, guys. Me, myself, and I. You can do it with a consistent income, with just even 1 class if you just want part-time income, or you can have a full-time income, right? If you want to do all 4 classes, okay? I've proven that, not only me, but thousands of other women have been able to do this at home. So my model, I dare say, is not broken. What is broken is the daycare person feeling like they can do both. It's 2 different worlds, guys. You cannot serve daycare and preschool at the same time unless preschool is just part of your daycare. Like if you're doing daycare, awesome, please educate those children. Yes, please do preschool curriculum. Just call it daycare or call it an all-day preschool or call it whatever you like, but it's daycare, it's childcare. Do you see what I'm saying? Do not mix a part-time 2.5-hour program into your daycare, because the people that you need to fill that preschool only program don't want your daycare and they will not sign up for your preschool program. So you have 2 totally different clienteles, and if you are trying to go after this one, you have to be all in, okay? Burn the boats. And I give actually a 30-day strategy in my book, Start Your Preschool. Oh, don't mind me. I was just flipping through my new book called Start Your Preschool. I want to get you a free copy in your hands. Here's the deal. If you want to start a preschool, there is no better resource for you than my new book. Over 300 pages teaching you exactly how to start your preschool, the exact steps I took to start my preschool, the exact steps I teach everyone. The thousands of women who've started successful preschools have gone through this book. I can't wait to get it in your hands. Simply go to freepreschoolbook.com or click the link in the description and I will get you your copy today. Super excited. Now go get your book. What are you waiting for? And I give actually a 30-day strategy in my book, Start Your Preschool. That process that I teach you is a 30-day process to be able to transition your daycare into a preschool without losing income, okay? Now, how you do it, it's really cool. How you do it is basically you tell your daycare kids, your parents, guys, at the end of the 30-day period, so like start at the beginning of the month, right? Okay, you get their daycare money, whatever, and you're like, hey, at the end of this month, guys, my daycare is shutting down. So you have 30 days to find another provider, and you say this all lovingly, of course. You have 30 days to find another provider. But at the end of that 30 days, I'm closing down the daycare and I'm starting my preschool. It's strictly a preschool. So if you are working full time, either A, you need to get someone else to transport your kid to me for 2.5 hours, or they can't come because I'm not transporting. I'm not going to go pick up your kid from some other daycare, bring them to my preschool. I'm not going to watch your kid before and after my preschool class. And if you have a baby, I'm not going to watch your kid at all. Like it's preschool for ages 3 to 5, 2.5 hours a day, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, whatever. So if that doesn't work with your schedule, I totally get it. I see how it probably won't work with your schedule. I totally get that. And I respect that. That's why I'm giving you 30 days to go find some other place. But at the beginning of the next month, that is when I will open up my preschool. And so how this works, guys, is you've gotten your daycare tuition for the 30 days, and then you open up your preschool on the very beginning of the next 30 dadays, and there you've got your preschool monthly tuition, okay? Now, how do you enroll your preschool kiddos? Well, you're doing daycare during the day on this 30-month period, so during the night, you do your preschool tours, okay? You don't talk about the fact that you own a daycare, okay? You talk about the fact that you've taught children for 5 years, you've taught children for 10 years, right? That's what you talk about, okay? And you're starting a preschool the next month. That's all they need to know, okay? Like, don't mix daycare and preschool. Oil, water, do not mix. Got it? Okay, rant over. Comment below if you are a daycare owner and you are sick of your time and the time you invest and the fact you don't get paid enough and all that stuff. Comment below, I wanna know, okay? I've heard so many women who are so frustrated and so fed up with this daycare world that they just love this concept of strictly preschool, okay? But commit to me that you will not mix the two. Shut down the daycare, start your preschool, okay? That 30-day process, yes? Awesome. And as always, please comment, share, subscribe, and like so I can get more of these videos that you can see all the time.